What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of the Matter Mentality podcast. Thank you for tuning in on whatever streaming service you are using: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. I don't even know what we're going to be on, but we're on there somewhere. So, this episode, I wanted to dive into a little bit more about the background of the business and kind of a few points that we like to talk about and what they really mean. So, you would have seen by now that we've discussed or talked about or shared or engaged in content regarding our values, the three values of the business, the three values that I try to live by, and I think they definitely apply to achieving high levels of success, and they kind of underpin a lot of people's plans, purpose, beliefs, especially high achievers, and the results that they get. And these are purpose, consistency, and intensity. Now, you'll see these in pretty much everything that we do. They are on the main value shirt that we first released. They are a mainstay in the brand and kind of reflect how I train and kind of how I like to live. Now, as such, it obviously makes sense that those core values are aligned with and make sense with the business. So why purpose, why consistency, and why intensity? Well, purpose is a pretty clear one. Everything we do has to be for a reason. I don't agree with the idea of just simply cruising through life and just cruising through things, cruising through training, cruising through nutrition, cruising through random assortments of life to just simply do things because. Don't get me wrong, if you want to do things, that's fantastic. Is there a purpose to it? What is the reason for it? There needs to be a purpose to the reason our training is periodized, the way that our physique is looking, the way that our mindset is shifting, the way that our study is going, the way that our business is building. There has to be a purpose to everything we're trying to achieve. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just simply that the greater the purpose, the greater the meaning, the deeper the meaning, the greater that achievement is going to be, the more likely adherence is going to occur, and the better the result is going to be in general. Now, consistency. It doesn't matter to me if you give 10,000%. Doesn't matter if you give 100%, there's absolutely nothing left in the tank one time. That means sweet F all to anyone worth a grain of sand. You do one good job and that's it. The likelihood of you achieving the results that you're trying to get is very, very low. I don't care who you are. Don't care how you talk about it. Don't care what you do. That one high level of effort is borderline irrelevant in the grand scheme of the overall goal that you have and the overall persistence and the overall duration of that goal over your lifespan. Consistency is implying that a duration of an intensity of effort has to be given, or a specific amount of effort has to be given for a consistent period of time towards a specific outcome. Before you tell me that you can't do something, I want to see that you have ticked off everything you can possibly do to achieve that goal and do it consistently for months on months on months on years. And then we can start to say, okay, cool, you've given it everything and there's nothing in the tank. It's probably not going to happen. It's time to reassess and see where we go next. Until that point, and I think this is where a lot of people struggle, then you haven't really ticked off every box. You haven't covered everything possible to do. You haven't really given it everything you have. And therefore, it's not the goal's fault. It's probably yours. When I get people tell me they've dieted before, they've been consistent with their training. It might be 6 months, might be 3 months, might be 12 weeks, might be a year. They look at that as if it's that in that narrow single piece of data, as if that single information is everything that should decide their success. And the reason they haven't got success yet is it's too hard at this point. It can't be done. When we look at the grand scheme of everything that goes on and we look at the duration of careers and success and how long things take, we see these overnight successes and fail to recognize or mention the years and years behind the toil and the hard work that's gone into it and where those results actually came from to be a quotation marks overnight success. And you realize that it was not overnight. It was not even close to overnight. It was consistent effort over a prolonged period of time with a specific purpose towards a specific outcome, and that outcome was finally achieved. Now, for each person, it can be very, very different. It might be a relationship, might be a family, it might be a business, might be a career, might be a physique, might be a study, might be education. It doesn't matter. The thing is, consistent effort is required to achieve a specific outcome over a prolonged period of time in order to get there. So it doesn't matter to me that you do 100% once. I would rather have a client that do 75% every single day, and we can work to progress and improve 76%, 77%. We get 80%. The average trumps the one-off, and it's why we have metrics and data to look at these specific under the bell curve numbers, and we can look at how people generally fit into normality, and we have these normalcies that show up. It gives us an indication of things, and outliers are generally removed. When we look at data, when we track studies, when we look at the population samples, the results that are really far outliers, and you might be in the 99th percentile, it's great. Chances are there's a reason or an abnormality, and it's usually removed. When it comes to effort, when it comes to consistent effort, if you're going to give me 100% once, and then I get 50% or 30% off you the rest of the time, then that outlier is removed and really just give me 30%. I would rather you give me 70%, 80%, whatever you can give me And that is what I believe when it comes to consistency, is consistent effort at the best effort you can possibly give. If you have 10 different things going on in life and you can only give me 70%, I would like 100% of that 70%. And that's going to get us the best chance of you achieving that outcome. Why you're working with me, why you're engaging with Matter, why you're doing the stuff you're doing, why we're doing the stuff we're doing. I can't give 100,000% every single time, but I'm going to give the 100% that I have of the capacity that I have to give it. That might mean for a period of time, like going back to uni, it might mean that the business gets 75%, but it's going to get 100% of that 75%, and there's nothing else to it. That's how I relate consistency and consistency to a specific outcome. So that's why it's so important to me, and one of the key values of the business and of the brand, and why that most of our clients are expected to develop that consistency. And from that, we can progress. And then the last one is intensity. And it's pretty clear cut. It's pretty clear as day. It's not that you have to be an intense person. It's that a degree of intensity is required to progress in life when your goals start to elevate and the things you're trying to achieve start becoming bigger, regardless of whether that's your physique, your business, your career, your family, whatever it is. A degree of intensity is required towards that specific thing for a consistent period of time. That gives us your training protocols. It gives you training phases, nutrition phases, it gives you drug protocols. It gives us everything we need to understand about you and about the thing we're trying to do. And that intensity metric is a key part of that. The greater and harder that we can work towards a specific outcome, the more focus we can have on a specific outcome, the greater that outcome, or the likelihood of that outcome is going to be greater. The more that I know that someone has narrowed in their life to 3 or 4 specific things instead of 20 different things going on, I know that we can control those variables. I know that we can control that lifestyle. I know that we can control those environments to the best of our ability without so many variables fluctuating and costing things. And in that instance, that degree of intensity towards the outcome starts to exacerbate how likely it is to be achieved. And so when you combine those 3 things, you really get the foundations of Matter. You get the foundations of my work ethic, my beliefs, my philosophies. You get the understanding of what I look for in people, what I look for in clients, what clients hopefully see in me, how I live, how I build this business, how I build my study, how I build my physique. You know, I can never say I'm going to be the best in the world at something, but I can tell you that I'm going to do those 3 things, and those 3 things will likely increase the likelihood of my achieving that goal that I'm trying to get to. And so that's really where, you know, those 3 values come from and what they mean to us as a business. And then if you look at, I guess, the next thing that we have to talk about is how we work, what it is we actually do. So you've probably seen us share the 5 elements model, and it's a mainstay that we have spent a bit of time deliberating on. And in essence, it kind of encompasses everything we do and how our system works and the way we get you results, the way the business is founded and built, and kind of in this educational process and this expansion process of us in the coaching realm is kind of the way we work. So you're looking at 5 key points, and we believe that those 5 key points underpin the results that our clients get and help them achieve those results in the most effective, time-efficient manner in line with what they're trying to do. And that is, when we look at it, we're looking for nutrition, we're looking for training, we're considering psychology, we're looking at education, and we're looking at community. Now, each one of those things is its own pillar, its own concept, and there's an underlying reason to it. We'll get to that. When we look at training, we're looking at, obviously, especially at this point in the business, as we're coaching physiques, individuals, performers, athletes, training is a key part of it. Whatever your training is, whatever the training goal that you have, we are facilitating training towards a specific outcome with a periodized, progressive model and framework of that training to make sure that you get there in a timely, healthy, and productive, efficient fashion. And it's going to lead you getting the best possible result in either the sport you're playing, the result you want to get, the physique you want to have. It all is a part of why we consider training so important. Then we have nutrition. The same principle applies. We're trying to standardize, periodize, and progressively work your nutrition to be in a better possible place so that your physique is better, your performance is better, your lifestyle is better, you're healthier. You have specific outcomes that are tapered to a specific reason. It's periodized to match your training. It's periodized to match your lifestyle. It's periodized to match ways that will facilitate the goals we're trying to reach. And then we move into psychology. And this is my big one. This is where I get a lot of my kick. It's where I get a lot of my enjoyment. It's where I get a lot of the fun out of coaching, is watching people mentally switch and mentally tip over into that high performing realm where they start to think differently, start to live differently, start to set up life differently. They stop sticking to the normalities. They stop sticking to the under the bell curve, and they start realizing they can do more and they are more. And that's all from just a few basic tips, a few basic tricks, a few basic conversations, some mental shifts in language and appraisal. Like, that's where my bread and butter is, that I get excited about. Having someone Having someone who might not be a Michael Jordan type click in their head that they can actually stick to a 5-day training program, they can handle a bit of hunger, they can lead to progressive overload and actually train themselves hard, is fun for me because they originally come usually believing they can't do it, or they have tried it in the past and some previous coach or previous system didn't allow that to happen. That's where I get excited. Then we've got the last two, which is less tangible towards coaching, but specific to kind of how I operate and the way I like to be. And that is education and community. Now, education to me is a fundamental pillar in understanding and achieving your results, because the more you know, yes, to a certain degree, it's just simply shut up and do as I say. But the more you know, the more you're aware, the more able you are to understand and be adherent towards a specific purpose, to a specific reason, to a specific part of your training, your programming, your nutrition. It makes more sense and you understand and comprehend why it's happening. If I just simply tell you, hey, go take away all your food and suck it up, the likelihood of you pushing back on that is pretty high. If I say, look, we're trying to achieve a specific body fat level and get your metabolic capacity to improve, we're trying to get a greater reduction in overall body fat so that we have a greater chance of growing and improving body composition in the next phase, it's going to make more sense to you to go, yeah, that makes sense. I need to actually do this so that when it comes to our next growth block or my next training phase or my next nutritional phase, it fits into the plan and helps me facilitate getting to the goal that we're setting. And that's why education is so important. All my clients will get access to all the courses that we make, all the content that we make, all the systems that we build. It's part of what they get, because to me, the more they know, the better I can work with them and the better they can work with themselves. It facilitates a greater intrinsic understanding of what's going on. And then community, the last part is obviously no one exists in a vacuum, and it takes an army, it takes a village to raise a team, raise a child, however you want to say it. The point is, it takes a team to achieve big results. Whether you're an individual or not, whether you're an individual sport, whether you're an individual athlete, whether you're a team athlete, it takes a team to achieve an outcome, especially the more grand the outcome is that you're trying to reach. The more people you have in your network, the more positive people you have in your network, the more constructive people, the more honest people, the more productive people you have in your network, the more motivated you're going to be, the more supported you're going to be, the more productive you're going to be, because the sum of your 5 friends dictate the results that you're going to achieve and who you are. If you're going to have 5 friends that smoke, the chances are you'll be a smoker. If you're going to have 7 friends that drink, you're probably going to be a drinker. If you have 10 friends that do nothing but drugs, you're probably going to be someone who does drugs. That environmental psychology facilitates the lifestyle you're trying to live, and it enables you to either limit yourself to the choices that they are also making, or you're enhancing the conversations that you're having, you're enhancing the goals that you're speaking about, and you're starting to engage with other people that are just as driven, may not be towards the same goal, but they're just as driven as you are and trying to achieve something similar. And with that, we encourage and facilitate private group chats, Facebook groups, collective communication, engagement in all aspects of what we're doing, regardless of what your goal is specifically. It's all a group of people trying to facilitate higher performance and help others reach their goals through reaching their own goal and showing others that it can be done. And that's one of the most exciting parts, is that we're helping others see what we're trying to do, and they're showing others what they're trying to do. And we all interlink and interconnect and discuss and share and engage and support. And that's really one of the best parts about the business. That's really the 5 underlying elements that we believe help a client achieve success and help us achieve success in our business. And that's why it's so important to us to include those 5 things, because it's important for you to know what it is that we do and how it works, how the system works, how we base it, because it actually is set for a reason. It's there for a specific reason to achieve a specific outcome. And when we really look at the science of motivation, we look at motivational literature, the underpinning current understanding of behavioral science or behavioral motivation is self-determination theory. And self-determination theory encompasses 3 underlying pillars that govern motivation from a degree of a spectrum, when we look at a motivation right through to external motivation, through to intrinsic motivation. And in order to do this, we facilitate 3 psychological needs that every person has in order to feel motivated towards achieving something and being intrinsically driven by it. That is relatedness, competence, and autonomy. If we're able to facilitate those 3 things in a client or a person, into a group, we're able to motivate them more and show them a more intrinsic connection to the goal they're trying to achieve. And it ends up facilitating a greater likelihood of adherence, a greater likelihood of achievement, a greater likelihood of result. So what are those 3 things? They're kind of the underlying premise of matter in those 5 elements. And it's a specific model for a specific reason. Autonomy is being able to take the wheels yourself, be showing that you can do something, given the freedom, the ability, and the chances to do the thing that you're doing yourself, and actually know that you can do it. Competence, again, you're showing yourself that you're able to achieve something. You're showing yourself that you're able to do something specific, and you've done it before. You've been shown how to do it. You know how to do it. You're confident in your ability to execute, and therefore autonomy and competence go together quite well. You're not only showing yourself you can do it, but you're off to do it, and you're given the chance to do it yourself. You're given the freedom to do it, and that's where good coaching and coaching systems and coaching environments facilitate and allow that to happen. And the last one is relatedness. How related are you to your goal? How related are you to the people around you? How related and connected do you feel to the coach, to the system, to yourself, to your goals, internally, externally? Those three things make up, if you really think about it, training, nutrition, psychology, and they make up education, and they make up community. You are connected to the people around you. You are understanding and learning about the things that we are doing so that you can stick to it and you can understand and you can comprehend why it's happening. And then you have obviously the proof in the results you are getting and in the execution of your program and your phasing that you are able to train hard, train smart, train with the program, train with progressive overload and periodization. And so you tick off those three boxes. And that's really the point and kind of the founding reason as to why we developed it that way and want it to be that way, is because the whole goal is to motivate you to love what you do and be happy doing the things that you're doing. And we just simply are helping guide and facilitating the progress as if nothing more than a GPS to get you to where you're trying to go, and be motivated, enjoyed, and excited to get there. And a sense of fulfillment and a sense of positive emotions are experienced along the way because you know that you're capable of doing it. You know you're excited by it. You know that you're enjoying it. It's not a chore. It's not a problem. Yes, to a degree, some people will have that sense of dread when it comes to training and dieting, but the overall process should be enjoyed. The overall process is to be excited. It's to be fulfilling. It's supposed to be mentally demanding and mentally progressing. And that's what we try to achieve. So when you go back through it, really, that is where the key system of matter is founded from, and kind of what we base it on, because it's so important to understand and help someone develop intrinsic motivation towards goals they're trying to achieve and allow them to enjoy the process along the way. So that was just a quick wrap up of kind of how we work and kind of why we say the things that we do, and you see the stuff that you see, because we all want you to be more motivated. We want you to be more excited. We want you to enjoy the process. We want you to get where you're trying to get and stick to it. And that's kind of, why we have done it the way we have done it. If you have any other questions, guys, if you have any other curiosities, if you have any other concerns, please feel free to flick us a message, reach us at the Matter Athletica Instagram. You can message me at my private Instagram. You can join the Facebook group, which is just the Matter Athletica group on Facebook. It's a public group to access and engage with everyone, like-minded people trying to get results and improve their life. Any other questions, feel free to flick through a message and we'll chat.